While we're here on our solo mission in Ul'dah, I was thinking we'd go ahead and take up our Black Mage class. Because we're going to need some skills from that for our White Mage. So you want to be a Thaumaturge. Welcome to Thaumaturge Guild. It is fate that has guided your steps here, friend. Within these hallowed halls, the arts of devastation are taught, primeval magics with which to bring about an enemy's ruin. If you would join our ranks and wield the power of the Thaumaturge, I urge you to seize this moment and confide in me your arcane ambitions. Do you wish to join the Thaumaturge Guild? Yes. Yes. There truly was no other answer, was there? Lean closer now, and I shall whisper to you of Thaumaturge's beginnings. The nation of Ul'dah inherited its traditions from ancient Beladia, a city founded by the descendants of the first mages. The secrets of these illustrious sorcerers were ultimately entrusted to the priests of the Order of Nal'thal, who have passed them down from generation to generation ever since. Focused and refined over centuries of use in the Order's funeral rites, the arcane magics of our ancestors eventually emerged as the art we now know as Thaumaturgy. A freezing blizzard to halt corruption, a raging fire to cleanse the corpse, a bolt of lightning to expel the sins of mortal life. The duomers employed in the desperation of the dead, the preparation of the dead, are equally efficacious when applied to the living. Thus does our guild thrive in the depths of Arzaneth Ossuary, a sanctuary devoted to Thal, the divine arbiter of the afterlife. What say you then, adventurer? If you would plumb the abyssal depths of Thaumaturgy, let our learned sages guide your descent. But before you leap into the darkness, you must prove to our guildmaster that you are possessed of the spiritual fortitude necessary to look upon that which waits therein. When you are ready to submit to the judgment of our most eminent mages, say the word. I'm ready. Well, adventurer, will you join our guild, or do you presume to ignore the urgings of impatient destiny? Let's do it! A wise decision, indeed. To prepare for your initiation, I would have you study the volumes of fundamental thaumaturgical principle, all 108 of them, or at least I would if such requirements had not been abolished. Too great a deterrent to fresh novices, they say. I suppose you shall have to settle for calling upon the collective wisdom of our guildmasters. We have 5, you see, all brothers of the same house. Though they all wield supreme authority, it is the eldest who provides a singular voice for the guild when one is required. Master Kokobigo, I believe. They be over here. A bunch of Cocos. Cause they cuckoo. For Cocoa Puffs! Who? What? Oh. Thal's teeth. Miss, did your mother never tell you not to startle a Thaumaturge? Look at that expectant face, Kokobigo. This lady is obviously a new applicant for the guild seeking audience with our eldest brother. Oh, pretty late Yayake? I don't know. She can recite the 307 verses of the funerary rites for the virtuous fallen, but the simple task of keeping our name straight seems ever beyond her grasp. Blah ha ha ha. Well, I for one find the constant confusion endlessly entertaining. My apologies, my dear. My merriment was not meant to mock your mistake. It is our sibling Kokobuki with whom you should speak. What's this? What's this? Thal has led to us a new aspirant. Ah, Kokobuki. Were you here the entire time? Greetings, child. I am Kokobuki, the eldest and, I would venture to say, the wisest of the 5 masters of the Thaumaturge Guild. It is my solemn duty to furnish our would-be initiates with a succinct understanding of our beloved art. Thus I would have your fullest attention. To wield Thaumaturge is to unleash devastation of the highest magnitude. The lethal force of our spells far exceeds the destructive capability of any other form of arcane manipulation. Fire, lightning, blizzard, somnolence. The Thaumaturge calls upon an expansive arsenal of offensive incantations to incapacitate and obliterate all manner of adversaries. Open your mind to our sorcerer's teachings, and you too shall soon hold the unparalleled power of our discipline in the palm of your hand. Of course, such power has a price. You must be willing to plunge headfirst into the forbidding chasm of Thaumaturgy secrets, for advancement in the art comes only with the completion of deadly and terrible trials. I ask you now, aspirant, are you prepared to leap into the abyss in pursuit of power unrivaled? Hell yeah! A confident response. Your name, if you will? Very well, Saya. Let us mark your initiation with 3 eminent practical gifts. My first gift to you shall be, in addition to your hunting log, the names of such enemies that will prove suitable to your training as a Thaumaturge. The second and third gift are the scepter and shield, instruments you shall need to focus the destructive force for your will. Did you believe your initiation over? My dear disciple, we have only just begun. Take your new weapons in hand, and I will set you forth upon your first trial. Sweet! The scepter well complements the avid desire for destructive power written upon your features. Now, we shall complete your initiation with a trial to test the limits of your aptitude for channeling Thaumaturgy. Huge hornets, star mammoths, and snapping shrews inhabit this land in abundance. Exercise your sorceress might and slay 3 of each of these creatures before returning to my side. You have the satisfied look of a mage who has utterly vanquished her foes. Saya, I formally welcome you into the Brotherhood of the Thaumaturge. The purpose of this trial was to gauge your capacity for wielding Thaumaturgy, an initiate quality, the limits of which are bound by the level of etheric energy flowing through your physical being. Ether, or aether, the very stuff of life, exists within all creatures, living creatures, to a greater or lesser extent. Remember this, for it is the most basic law of arcane manipulation. As your experience grows, so shall your reserves of thaumaturgical endurance. The wellspring of your magical might will also swell in response to moments of extreme terror and duress. When you find yourself seeking greater challenge, when next you crave the thrill of exquisite fear, that is when you shall know the time has come for you to visit me once more. Your burgeoning power strains against the confines of your untried mortal shell. Another trial you must have. From this day forth, your tasks and challenges will be shaped by the teachings found in Thaumaturge, the Yawning Abyss, a tome penned by the renowned Thaumaturge Zozomaya. My brothers, who have not once tasted the bitter draught of defeat, will instruct you on the vital lessons to be gleaned from the 4 extensive chapters that comprise this exemplary work. Much shall you learn about the threats with which a practitioner of our art must contend. The first chapter, the threat of intimacy, falls within Coco Baigo's purview. It is only fitting that one so averse to being approached should teach you the wisdom to be uncovered therein. Yes, Seiya. I've been expecting you. Allow me to read to you the penitent passage from the opening chapter of Zozomaya's Guide. Ahem. The threat of intimacy. How magnificent the potent power we wield. Roaring flames, piercing ice, and shocking bolts are matched not by fist or sword or spear, but the burly warrior waxes fearsome with every closing step. Fists shatter bone, blades slide through flesh, spears puncture soft bellies. Know you this threat, and stand you apart from such men. Shiver. Ugh. That last part makes me queasy no matter how often I recite it. The lesson, however, should be obvious. Keep your distance from your foes. Apart from the agony of being hit, or stabbed, or worse, you'll have a devil of a time completing an incantation with an enemy flailing his weapons at you, your person. Thus the wise Thaumaturge always strikes from afar. The farther the better. Now, let us proceed with your trial. Take this dried fish and set it down in the vicinity of the silver bazaar. Next, simply draw back to a comfortable distance and await for a vulture to swoop in to feed. That's when you have ambushed the nasty creature with a barrage of deadly spells. Once you have slain the scavenger, be sure to retrieve a generous slice of vulture meat for Fafafono. He doesn't mind us conducting trials so close to his shop, so long as he's properly compensated. Yes, Seiya, we pay him in sorcery-blasted bird flesh. Nice. Fafano. You're done making use of my testing grounds, are you? Cough up the fee then. Hee. There's nothing so tender as a bit of meat pummeled with wanton wizardry. Nice doing business with you, Thaumaturge. Did you say Thaumaturge? Has this mage just completed a guild trial? Ah, Master Alchemist. What brings you out to our bazaar this fine evening? The lady here just slew herself a plump vulture. You'd be surprised at how many of these scepter-wielding sorcerers end up sliced to ribbons by beak and talon. And that's not the sort of flesh I've a taste for, you understand? My brothers, not again. Welcome back, Seiya. You seem to have done well. Both eyes intact, face appears unshredded. It truly is the most terrible feeling to have one's casting interrupted by a heinous injury. Huh. It's one of the easier trials, if you ask me. Keep well away from pointy, slashy, bashy things if you want to reach the end of an arcane utterance. That's just common sense. Fortune favors the fighter who flings fire from afar. I simply love the look of loathing leveled at me by the distant duelist, distressed by my deadly downpour. Bah! We Thaumaturge excels at offense, but fail miserably at defense. Our most effective strategy is to topple our adversaries with overwhelming force before they have a chance to respond. Honors for knights and dead mages. Seiya, your studies appear to be progressing nicely. It won't be long before you dominate the battlefield as an avatar of sorcerous destruction. So it's true, Buki. Don't try to hide it from me, Baigo. Or you, Bani. Or Bezi. Or Boha. Kokobusi? What are you doing here? You promised you would teach me next. Well, yes, of course we did, Busi, but Seiya here was most insistent. And once again you brush me aside in the hope that I abandon my heart's desire. Why do you deny me? I hate you, all of you. Please, Busi, you shouldn't say such hurtful things. You know how delicate Baigo is. That was Kokobusi, our youngest brother. He so dearly wishes to become a thaumaturge like the rest of us, but it simply isn't possible. The poor boy's etheric levels are pitifully low. We thought we had convinced him to accept fate's cruel quirks when he entered the Alchemist Guild, but he yet yearns to walk the path of thaumaturgy. Such is Kokobusi's determination, in that he spends all his waking moments experimenting with alchemical concoctions, seeking a method by which he can expand his capacity for arcane manipulation. Well, this is obviously not your concern. Back to the abyss with you, young Thaumaturge, and I mean that in the most encouraging manner possible. Yes, Seiya, yes. The aura of power surrounding you is palpable. The glare begins to blind my Thaumaturge's eye. Your lessons today shall be taught by Kokobani. Go to him and hear from the chapter entitled The Threat of Paucity. Aha, so Seiya, you have come to learn at the foot of the third eldest brother, have you? I promise you, however, your education shall not be third-rate. Let us read from the second chapter, shall we? Are you settled? No last-moment trips to the privy? Very well. The threat of paucity. Ah, how magnificent the ruthless power we wield. Flame devours ice and tombs. Flame devours ice and tombs, and lightning courses through the stricken bones of our foes. But, oh, such desperation when the wellspring runs dry. Flame sputters out, ice melts into slush, and lightning sparks no longer. Know you this threat, and mind you the limits of your mortal vessel. A terrifying thought, isn't it? A thaumaturge who has exhausted her arcane reserves is not but a woman with a stick and a funny hat. For we mages, you may as well equate the etheric energy flowing through our veins with our very lifeblood. Should a battle find us lacking in the precious resource, we are as good as dead. Controlling the expenditure of your power requires an understanding of etheric balance. The scales can tip in one of two directions, australly or umbrally. When your mind and spirit lean in an umbral direction, your thaumaturge is affected by a state known as umbral ice. The potency of your spell is diminished, but they also require less energy to invoke. On the other hand, the thaumaturge is in the austral fire state will find the potency of her incantations enhanced, but a greater cost to her etheric stamina. Now, with the concept of etheric balance and efficient casting foremost in your mind, I bid you go forth and slay 8 Fs. Pray do your best to stay alive. It affects badly on me when the mauled corpse of one of my pupils is returned to the ossuary. Dang. Aha, you arrive before me upright and breathing. Wonderful. It is so much simpler to pose questions to students without having to resort to necromantic divination. Tell me, Saya, what action would you take if you found your thaumaturgical endurance exhausted in the midst of battle? Flee! Oh, most practical indeed. A discreet withdrawal to await the replenishment of your energies is a sound strategy. But should there be nowhere left to run, a vial of ether can be your stoutest ally. Ah, ether, the draught of the gods. We thaumaturges, indeed, any who practice the arts of arcane manipulation, value this substance above all others. Thus it was with unbridled fury that we received the most recent report of beastman activity. It seems an Almajah raiding party has attacked a caravan on the trade routes and made off with an entire crate of precious ether. The time has come for you to put your new knowledge to the test. Annihilate these Almajah bandits and retrieve the cargo of ether-filled vials. According to the report, their armored war transport was last spotted to the south of Drybone. Ah, and I believe Kokobuki has an additional request. While you are busy incinerating Almajah, be sure to collect some samples of their blood, assuming you can draw any from their smoking remains. Oh shoot, Almajah, huh? Let's do it. Do I detect the scent of ether? And I trust that stench is Almajah's blood. Yes, it is. Oh, 10 vials, 20, 30. The sight of so much ether is just so very comforting. What have we here, Kokobani? Is this a crate that was stolen? I see Saya's lessons have had the desired effect. I will assume the vial. Viscous liquid. you have there is beastman blood. Kokobusi should be pleased. Kokobuki, you left word for me to visit the ossuary. Have you finally decided to begin my training in thaumaturgy? Ah, Kokobusi, good of you to come. Seiya here was kind enough to obtain a supply of Almajal's blood for you. An alchemist acquaintance of mine explained how you had been using the substance in your research to create a mana-amplifying elixir. Naturally, we are most interested in the results of such experiments. So you see, Busi, your work as an alchemist already puts you in a position to work alongside us. You needn't become a thaumaturge to be part of our family. That's right, Busi. Besides, the battlefield is a dangerous place, and our skills are not exactly suited to keeping others safe from harm. I see. This is but another attempt to dissuade me from pursuing my true calling. I do not want to cheer you on from the safety of my workbench. I want to fight at your side. But Busi, we just cannot stand the thought of you being harmed. Pray do not do anything foolish. I do apologize, brother. I sometimes forget how difficult it must be not having a natural aptitude for the arcane arts. As I mentioned before, Kokobusi is dangerously unsuited to the wielding of thaumaturgy. Even with the proper training, he would be unable to cast magics as we can. Were he to attempt to force a manifestation of power, the strain on his etheric reserves would likely kill him. But let us not dwell on the unpleasant circumstances. For you, on the other hand, are brimming with thaumaturgic potential. Remain diligent in your studies and do not cease in your efforts to expand your wellspring of power. Come, Seiya, the yawning abyss beckons once more. Today, Kokobezi will instruct you from the chapter entitled The Threat of Superiority. You are come for your lesson, Seiya? Then heed well my words. The threat of superiority. Ah, how magnificent this intimidating power we wield. Flames sear the air, ice frosts the ground, and lightning flashes with blinding incandescence. But not all are cowed by our elemental fury. Ignite not your flames, summon not your ice, and strike not your lightning. Know you this threat, and stay your hand against such foes. Once you cut away all the overblown imagery, the passage draws attention to an important tactic. That while Thaumaturge does not engage in battle against opponents she cannot defeat. A fine example would be avoiding conflict with Ulda's multitude of furious merchants. These soulless, ravening creatures are afflicted with the madness of insatiable avarice. Do you perhaps recall the crate of ether you retrieved from the Almajal bandits? Well, a number of irate peddlers have arrived at the guild with the gall to demand recompense for the few measly vials we emptied as our just reward. Alright, yes, we drank the entire bloody box, but the point is that the guild cannot presently afford to pay such a sum. Thus, I pass on to you the secret of my last and most potent defense. Shameless weeping. I'm not speaking of a few tears here. I want you to stride right up to these tyrannical traitors and cry your eyes out. Well, you needn't cry about a few vials of ether, lass. I'll tell you what, you dry your eyes for me and I'll take care of loss out of my own purse. Alright, miss. I know you're the one who chased down those Amajal brutes for us. I'll let it go this one time, for your sake. It's not that, oh dear, I'm not angry at you, you understand. It's those 5 ether-addled brothers I take issue with. You tell them the next time this happens, I'll have the price taken out of their unprincipled hides. A masterful performance, Seiya. The sniffling was a nice touch. You will, however, encounter foes who are unmoved by such piteous wailings. Take this recent request, for instance, which I have nominated to serve as your next trial. A team of scholars has asked for a thaumaturge to destroy a cursed relic they unearthed known as Mormo's urn. While pottery is, by and large, immune to tears, it is the Alacrane thieves that subsequently stole it that concern me. The Alacrane are an organization of criminals not normally known for their gentle or understanding disposition. Rather than attempting to engage an entire gang of their thugs, I would suggest you neutralize the threat to your person with a well-timed sleep spell. The Alacran have been seen traveling in the southeast of Drybone. Find them and destroy the urn they carry. Will do, bro. Will do. Seiya, a moment if you please. Pray allow me to shatter that urn. I thought that if I assisted you with your task, then my brothers might finally deign to take me seriously. So I followed you. What have we got here then? A couple of nosy sand rabbits that are about to get skinned. Uh-oh. Oh dear gods, where did they come from? That was simply incredible, Seiya. I wish I could will the same sort of power. I became an alchemist in hopes of creating some manner of mana-amplifying elixir, but all my efforts have been for naught. The results have been far too mild to make any difference. I'll never be a thaumaturge like my brothers at this rate. I'll forever be the pitiful, powerless little sibling. Mormo's urn. If I destroy it, then maybe my family will see what I'm capable of. Wait! Don't you dare break my urn. Ah, what the? Did that piece of pottery just talk? Are you Mormo, the Void Sent? Hee. Well, yes, I am Mormo. But I'm one of the nice Void Sent. I didn't know there was a nice Void Sent. It was the nasty ones that sealed me up in here for helping a mortal. If you would be so kind as to open the lid of my urn, I'd be happy to grant you a wish. Anything you desire. Fortune, fame. I'm not really interested in fame or fortune, but perhaps there is one thing. I'd like to have etheric power to equal that of my brothers. Hee power? Is it? A perfectly acceptable wish. In fact, I sense the latent ability buried deep within your spirit. It will be a simple thing for me to turn it loose. What more is there to think about? Open the lid. You already know he lying. Purple energy is never good. Well, I don't feel different at all. I think Mormo may have been lying. Come, Saya, it's time we were leaving. Oh, weren't we supposed to break this urn? We'll see ya. And that is that. Yes. This will be such fun. I mean, it'll be nice to return home after all this excitement. He's talking like you. Welcome back, Saya. I'm glad to see you making a habit out of not dying. Before we discuss your trial further, however, I would ask you about Kokobushi. When I saw him but a few moments ago, he seemed odd. Well, odder than usual. Would you happen to know aught of it? I'm gonna be upfront and truthful about it. Bushi was at your trial. He was extraordinarily dangerous and foolish to interfere with the Thaumaturge's training. I shall have to scold him most heartily. Such unpleasantness aside, I am impressed that you claimed victory in spite of this unexpected development. The teaching of the Yawning Abyss have served you well. With your experience and control thus demonstrated, I believe you are ready to add a new spell to your repertoire, Scathe. This elementally neutral blast of force will prove effective against all manner of opponents. As I am sure you are eager to test this incantation's efficacy, I shall grant you leave to return to your training. I pity the next hostile creature that crosses your path.